Okay. Hello, hello. Well, I guess I thought this would be a good backdrop, but let's just change locales. Sorry. Let's change locales a bit here. We'll still keep the Montmarte theme. But let's see if I can balance this a little bit better. Here we go. There we go. Sorry. Sorry I gotta take y'all to a camping trip. But, well, I guess that's just where I like to be at the end of all these adventures. You know? It's not such a bad way to end it. But, in any cases though, we are here to talk about Trails Through Daybreak. One more time before I, go ass backwards with, yeah, before I go ass backwards with yeah. I guess I still had a lot of thoughts on the mind after finishing it, but, you know, at 3 a.m., I don't think most people would have a coherent thought after marathoning a game for 6+ hours. At least, that is my opinion. But in any cases, though, let us, well, let's see, there's quite a few things I want to discuss here. So, as far as my talk topics go, things I want to talk about today are the locale, the characters, chapter by chapter, favorite OST, moments, theories, other thoughts, and I guess my overall summation of Trails Through Daybreak. So, I guess the first things first then. Let us talk about the locale. Okay, this is a little tacky. But this does make it easier for me to timestamp my thoughts as I run about this, you know. And, I will say, first things first, Edith and Calvert in general is just such a refreshing sight. After maybe one too many games of Erebonia and, Crossbell. Like, shit, I'd rather take a return trip to Liberal, although I guess that wish is getting granted pretty darn soon. But, let's see. As far as the locations go, don't mind this rather sploggy way of doing things. Might need to lower this just a little more. There we go. Maybe that's too low. Yeah, that's the good shit. Okay. So, let's see. Let's talk about the locales. First things first, Edith. Edith looks great. It's a pretty close proxy to the modern city of the world. The modern cities, you know. A fair chunk of it is French-inspired, with a little bit of that Chinatown then and there. Well, I guess to go on a side tangent, man, somebody in the Falcom office definitely watches a John Woo movie. Because, you can't tell me Wolves Requiem does not sound like a wholesale plot of akin to the likes of, A Better Tomorrow or The Killer. Admittedly, those two are my favorite of the, Wu films, but that is me, of course. Though yeah, Edith overall was pretty nice to explore. Each district was pretty different enough, I think. Like, the Sidon district has the metropolitan feel. Meanwhile, Tyrell Street is like that center city everyone goes to for one reason or another. You could definitely feel the Ober district is a little more upscale. I mean, when you got a shop named Andalusia, yeah, I don't know, that sounds pretty fancy to me, but that is just me, of course. But yeah, it's interesting how Edith incorporates some of the things, like... It's like... how do I put it? For most of Trails... Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I was about to say food trucks are more pronounced in Calvert, but every arc other than Sky has food trucks at some point. Like, there were a few of them in Crossbell, but it was more like a pop-up stand kind of deal. Arabonia still uses like food carts and whatnot, like the street vendor carts. Like, you could see Reen get, like, street fish and chips somewhere in the Arabonia arc. Oh, shoot. I really should have put the disclaimer here. Man, I really should have been more on the up and up with spoilers and such. But honestly, for me, I don't like tiptoeing and doing the conga line. Although, I guess I do envy those with the patience to basically black hole themselves until the proper release. For me, it's like, I just got kinda sick of doing that. Although I think in general, that's just me and the whole, I don't enjoy dancing around spoilers if I can help it. I will respect it, but I'd prefer not to. But, let's see. We're talking a bit about Edith. I could have sworn there was another oh, wait. No, the Black Light District. Oh man, that thing has... I'm not sure where they got the inspiration for that one. I really want to say it's stuff like Kabukicho and, oh my god, I almost said Kamurocho, but this ain't quite the comparison I think it'll be. Like, I don't know, it's got the definitely shady underground vibes to it. As if the strip club and the, well, okay, we don't actually go into the strip club, but there's a strip club, there's a girl in lingerie selling food at a bar, and it's like, yeah, this place got skeevy written all over it. I think, overall, they nailed the vibes so good in Edith. Like, I want to say, well, okay, I guess since we're still on the subject of the Blacklight District, I want to say it's like the darker counterpart to the Ost District in Cold Steel. Like, come to think of it, I guess as far as things go, for the previous games, you never really did see the dregs of society and where they hang out. Although I guess that could be attributed to, well, Liberal seems to be pretty much on the up and up when it comes to strict laws and abiding by general good citizenship sort of thing. I mean, you get a few shady moments, like sneaking into a fortress, but nothing as overt as Van breaking curfew to smuggle someone out of a city. That was a definite eyebrow raiser. But yeah. Let's see. The movie theater, though. Man, I don't like making comparisons, but holy shit. I love just ending the days in, or just like ending the side activities with the movies or the Connect events. We'll come back to the Connect events. I guess we'll have to add a little bit of the Connect events under the characters. Cause damn, compared to the, I think compared to the Bond events of the previous arc, the Connect events are certainly much better written. If not, mostly accessible. You only ever miss like 1 or 2 Connect events. I wonder if that was the case in Cold Steel also. Maybe it's just recency biases. But yeah. It's probably just recency bias on my end. But you can get most of the events. And I think no matter which event you pick, they tend to be pretty darn interesting. It's like, I'm glad that Daybreak doesn't really have the romantic stuff outside of like Agnes and Elaine, but well, we'll get there when we get there. I should be talking about the cityscape. And it's like, I will say, Montmarte is a cozy place. Van frickin' won big, whether he knew it or not when he picked that as his base of operation. It's like, Old Town in general, just, it's like the sort of local neighborhood kind of vibe, you know? At least, it's comparable to Crossbell, where it's like, well, okay, I guess it's a shadier Crossbell if I really want to put it like that. Alright. But yeah, let's see. The Station Street, I didn't really have too many strong feelings on. I mean, it's the, you know, it kinda reminds me of Roar with the shopping and all. But other than that, it's like, I don't know, it's, you know, metropolitan. I don't know what other words I could say for it. Like, the districts that I remember the most are like, of course, Old Town, because we spend most of our time there. The Tyrell district, because I'll admit, I liked going to the movies and watching those plots play out. Some of these, I kinda wish they were mini OVAs, like, I'm pretty sure a Golden Blood OVA, or a, oh, if it were up to me, we'd have a Wolves Requiem OVA from start to finish. Holy shit. Like, I'm just a sucker for heroic bloodshed. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Now then, okay. Well, that marks the end of Edith, and my general thoughts on Edith. Let's go to Longport. Oh man, Longport looked great. Like, damn. You really get hit with the Chinatown vibes from it. And honestly, the ports kind of remind me of, well, there is a port city I know, which also has a Chinatown, and it's kind of like that city. I think some people would be reminded of Singapore more than Chinatown, and I could see the, I could definitely see where they'd get that idea from. But yeah. Like, going around there, watching the watching the sword dance really reminds me of those Chinese dance shows. There's always this one that I see advertised quite often. Often enough that I got curious once, but I still kind of skipped out on it. Because plays aren't really my kind of thing. And let's see, other than the Chinese aesthetics and stuff, I don't know. I liked Chapter 2 in Longport. It wasn't too bad. And that finale in the creepy abandoned town, though. Well, I know it's like, you know, generic abandoned town, spooky shit happens kind of thing, but that wasn't such a bad finale, or a bad place to have the finale for Chapter 2. And that old throne, and the whole reincarnation thing. Man, feels like I'm gonna just talk about the actual chapter than the locations at this rate. So let's move it along to something I could probably talk a little more about. Tharbad. I've been to Vegas. Tharbad is, more or less, it hits like a Middle Eastern Vegas. I really want to say Dubai, except I'm pretty sure Dubai is... Is it Middle Eastern? Am I drunk? Okay, I am not smoking something. It is in the Middle East. Holy shit, I almost actually forgot. This is pretty fucking terrible. But yeah. So yeah, Tharbad. Basically Dubai. You got the ritzy skyscraper hotel, a fancy casino. Well, okay, it's basically Middle East Vegas. Oh man, when I saw the strip club, I didn't think they'd actually do it where you straight up go to watch a show. I want to come back to that moment later, but for now, let's just talk about the general locale and stuff. The desert, honestly, the desert was worse than Nord Highlands. They made the desert way too big for its own good. I don't even know why it needed to be that big. Like, you're just running through a long path of nothing until you reach a cave to advance the story. And it's just miserable. I mean, I guess you could run around for 2 hours and kill for like 1,000 Seepith in each category, but that sounds like such a terrible waste of time. Don't actually do that. But yeah. Well, other than that, Tharbad at night, though, looks so good. Like, damn. I mean, each city looks pretty great at night, too, but I don't know. Tharbad really hits that kind of swanky feel, I think, when it comes to nighttime sky and feel. But, well, that is me, of course. For me, I'm not one to really gush about the locations and such. Like, I can point out landmarks then and there, but at the end of the day, I'm there for the story, how it all plays out. Although, I will say, you need a good locale for it. I want to say good locales and places are, or should be, a general staple for these kind of games. Or most games, really, but, well. Now I'm just going on a nonsensical tangent. Never mind. Let's just move on to the next location, Longlai. Longlai makes me want to go to a hot spring. Man, I've never been to one. In fact, I think the closest I've gotten is like, I think it was like this Hotel 8 with like a small pool that was heated up? I guess that was more like a sauna than a hot spring. But, yeah. Like, man, playing this game, playing Ghost of Tsushima, it's like, man, I want to go on a hot springs trip. Just let it all melt away to the steam and stuff. Hell, I will say, I have not taken a proper, like, bath in years. It's always been showers. And it's been showers for like 10 plus years now. I don't really get the chance to, you know, sit in the tub and have a good think. Like, maybe I should make time for that somehow, but it's like, most of the time I'd rather just have my take a 10-minute and come back later. But other than that, oh, and the food scenes. Man, that dim sum and kaiseki sets. Wow. Falcom really upped the budget on their food graphics. Because every time food was there, it's like, I kind of got hungry. Holy shit. I wonder what an Engadin tastes like, though. Because damn, Van's got me curious. Alright. But, let's see. Other than that, like, I don't know. Atmosphere and all, Long Lai was pretty relaxing. Kind of figures it would be after... Oh no. I forgot about the city that comes before Long Lai. Basel. Now, Basel, I'm pretty sure they were going for a university city. And they definitely got it. Especially the interiors. Even though, holy shit, the interiors are... They look depressing. And I remember watching... Well, okay, maybe it's not that much of a secret that I watch Spectra. Time to time, of course. But, yeah. Really captures that university building feel. As for the rest of the city... If I had to put words into it, it's like an old city trying to modernize. And it's like at the halfway point, somewhere. You still have a bit of those old roads and such. And the air trams are... I want to say trams are pretty old-fashioned these days. But I'm pretty sure some other place in the world, trams are a legit part of traveling. Well, air trams, that is. I'm more used to those on the mountains than used to get place to place in a city. But, I guess other than that, I don't really have that many strong impressions on, Basel. But, let's see. This brings us to our, well, I want to say it's the final main story location. I know the Genesik Tower is a thing, but honestly, that just the final dungeon tower just reminds me, or it's basically an upscale, tetralic tower from Sky. That's my impressions on the final dungeon design. I mean, I'm a sucker for running all the way up and fighting things like it's Tartarus. Oh, I guess you could really compare it to Tartarus from Persona 3 if you're really gonna go there, but... sorry about the burp. Alright, so the last city. I swear this is gonna be the shortest section. I've got a lot more to say on characters, chapters, you know, things like that. So, let's talk about Oracion. I want to say it's like, dear. It's been a while. What was Erebonia's capital again? Alright. It's been a good while. Alright. What's the capital city? Capital city. Oh, Heimdall. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. Oracion is basically a Heimdall that's going even more out of style. Or you could really feel it with the, it's like the common folk want to kind of modernize. And it kind of is, to the point where the city has a movie theater, but it also still has an opera, the shopping district, or rather the shop in Quincy Bell. Really looks reminiscent of Heimdall's big shop in terms of feel. I mean, it even has like the whole... Well, never mind. I was gonna say upstairs, downstairs thing, but I realized that all the big city shops and trails, other than Skies, where it feels more like a bazaar slash market, then a two-story shopping building, or I guess a mall would be more like it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It really just... Oracion really is just... I don't know. I want to say Heimdall, but getting more decrepit and out of date. But there's nothing really strongly showing that it's, like, super out of date and decrepit. Only the mindset of the nobles and folks there are, well, out of date. But even then, you have some examples like Amelie and Nessa's whole, yeah, Amelie and Nessa's whole quest. Wait, was that her name? Oh god, I don't even remember the names. It's been weeks. I do remember the quest though, where it's like, you know. Well, okay, we could just go into that for story moments. Maybe I'll just put it somewhere under the subquests. No, yeah, I'll just put it. Oh my god, I almost said sub-stories, but side quests. Let's put connect events too. I know that's just gonna drag this stream out a little more, and I doubt this is gonna cover everything I want to talk about with Trails, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. But, yeah. Oh, no, it's not Ness, it's Nelly. So, yeah. Oops. Alright. I was sidetracked so hard from the city. But the city itself, it looks nice enough. I could see why it was the old capital. And ultimately, I suppose you could say this is like... I don't want to say the Noble Alliance's ultimate fate. That sounds a little too harsh, all things considered. And it's like, of course there's not... The nobles aren't all bad in Calvert either. It's just a more poignant example. But all things considered, Daybreak does bring some heavier topics into the fold. But, I guess I can just talk about that during the final moments. Right now I should focus. And for now, yeah, Oracion, I think out of all the cities, I think Edith, Tharbad, and probably Longport slash Long Live really made an impression on me visually. But, yeah, that's about it, really. I will say, it's a nice change of pace after too much Erebonia, and I'd say they at least tried for a little more variety, but it's not like Erebonia was that unique either. And Crossbell was just one mini-city for 2 games. Well, 3 if you, actually, yeah, 3 when counting Reverie, so. I'd have to wonder, maybe that's why Sky 123 works the way it did. Maybe they just didn't want to have another adventure in Liberal. Or at least not too much Liberal. And that's why they went with what they did in the 3rd, where it's all just in a cube. But, well, we're getting sidetracked here. I think that marks the end of the locale talk. Let's go to... Alright, you know what? Let's talk about the cast. We're gonna be here all night if I don't. Okay, so let's see. I'll probably just put my first timestamp here. Okay, so let's talk about the characters. I'll start from the ones that I don't really have too much to say about. I tried to pick mostly the main cast, or at least the main cast that I got a strong impression of. I could talk about everyone, but I want to keep this concise. So, okay. Let's go with the Arkride Solution office first. Let's see. I don't want to just split this into a bunch of mini timestamps, so I'll just keep it all under the character umbrella, and then, move on from there. So, yeah. Let's talk about the Arkride Solutions office. Man, I love these guys. They're great. Like, you can feel that they really tried to, well, I think they listened to the complaints of Cold Steel, and made the cast smaller, and also tried to give them a dynamic with one another. And it works for the most part. It's only the latecomers that really get the issue. Because, I would say Fairy, Aaron, Agnes, and Van get the lion's share of character development and things. Well, I guess Judith, too, with how much you interact with her throughout the story when she's on, well, when she's opposing you. I want to say Bearguard didn't get too much. It's a bit of a downer. And Ketra, man, he got shafted in Long Lie. I'm not even gonna mince words there. The poor kid. It's like, come on. Everyone else gets the heart-to-hearts. With Van or like one of the other cast members. I mean, fuck it. If you couldn't do Ketra and Van, fuck it. Just do Ketra and... I'm gonna go on a wildfire here. Do Ketra and Aaron. Just go for it. Even if you have to use the rock as a barrier kind of trope. Fuck it, that could have worked out. Just something. Like, I think the message of acceptance would have been a hell of a lot better if they actually wrote a scene for the poor kid, but... well, that's just me and my sort of thinking there. But, yeah, other than that, you can tell the kids really look up to Van, one way or the other, and how concerned they certainly are with him. And each other, honestly, because it's like, you see the ASO really stick their necks out for each other, one way or the other. Like, a notable example I can say is, like, after roughly 2 chapters of Van taking the blow, or blocking a hit for Aaron and Fairy, they try to do the same for Van when he goes up against Verithaga. And it's like, it's such a heartwarming sight to see. Especially coming from Aaron, who acts like a dipshit, but it's like, nah, that guy's got a heart of gold somewhere down there. And I guess unlike Ash, he's not afraid to voice it every once in a while. Oh boy. This is gonna have to be under the Aaron talk, but for now, let's stick to the general topic, I guess. But yeah, I like the ASL. They have a lot of dynamics outside of Van too. Like, Fairy... Actually, yeah. Fairy, Agnes, and Aaron are... They really do have that whole oldest, middle, youngest child kind of vibes. And it's fun to watch them all play off each other. Like how Aaron keeps trying to corrupt the kids. It just flies over Fairy's head comically. And Agnes is just peeved like 90% of the time with Aaron. Oh, man. I will say, it's a little bit of a bummer that Beauregard didn't really get too much time with the gang, even though the Connect event with Beauregard, and a little bit of the ending there, with him, asking Mare to give the kids a chance, because he didn't, thoroughly teach Van enough, or whatnot. Although, there's something I want to discuss about that ending, but that's going under the plot talk. Yeah, that's going under the plot talk when I talk about the chapters themselves. So, yeah. Beauregard could have used more, but I don't know. I like that whole old man gets a new leash on life and just goes hog wild, doesn't even give a fuck. And it's like, he still cares for Van, even after showing back up because of a critical, juncture. And given how the ending plays out, it's interesting that Barkhorn's kept that whole... I wonder if Barkhorn, Beauregard, they probably knew about Van's demonic essence and core. But, I mean, actually, yeah, he probably knew. He just surprisingly didn't tell the church. And the church never really figured it out. I mean, Rion kinda comes close, but then, Gotti saves the day with a weird spiel that is a little nonsensical given the situation, but, well, I guess, yeah. Although I guess Van is also the consequence of having an adult character, where they are Van is good at keeping his secrets, or just, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because it causes his plot line to be front-loaded to the end, but, however, I guess it lets the other characters shine, and they really do shine. Each chapter, well, okay, other than Chapter 3, Chapter 3 doesn't really do much with Rosette. In fact, Chapter 4 might as well be half a Rosette chapter, in comparison. Which might be the biggest down point for Chapter 3, but I should get back to talking about the characters. Okay, so yeah, overall, Beauregard. Darn shame that he is introduced at the very tail end of the story, where there's not really much to do with him. Like, he has a grandpa dynamic with, Yumes, but Yumes just gets along with everyone. And honestly, Yume and Fairy are, like, some of the best kids in Trails, bar none. But yeah. Alright, so I guess going down the list of characters from... Well, this is my subjective view of impressions and what they did for me and what I thought of them, so my list is gonna be a bit weird. But okay, so the next character, I don't know. Ketra feels like, on one hand, he falls into the technological genius kid technobobble, and admittedly, after several arcs of having kids a little too smart for their age, it's like, man, they could have went a different way with him. I mean, okay, to be fair, well, they are certainly doing something different with him, alright. In regards to, you know, his sauna scene and the long lie scene and all the signs pointing to a certain direction, but I'm pretty sure this is a Kuro 2 thing, and I mean a Daybreak 2, and as much as I could just spoil myself on it, I'd like to stay in the dark for some topics. And I think this is one of them. I'm pretty sure it's going to be something in Daybreak 2. But for now, though, after Chapter 4, again, I really wish he got more in Long Lie, or just, I don't know. It feels like he could have used more scenes. Like, Fairy Agnes gets a lot of scenes, and, you know, Aaron also gets a few scenes with the ASO members then and there. But it's like, I really hate to say it, but it's like, how would you write a scene with Rosette and Ketra? I don't think I'm the kind of writer for this. Maybe Spectra could come up with a better idea than I ever could. But it's like, I was thinking of like character dynamics you could do with Ketra. I mean, he falls under the umbrella of innocent kid too, given his reaction in Long Lie when Judith had a wardrobe malfunction. And boy, that was kind of hilarious, honestly. And I will say, the drop that he was also a DG cult victim is like, oh damn. Yeah, no wonder he has loneliness issues. Well, I guess speaking of the DG plotline thing, though, well, I guess we'll come back to that when I discuss the story in the chapters. Well, actually, no, we'll probably come back to that when I discuss Van, but for now, we're still on Ketra. As far as gameplay goes with Ketra, though, Man's a pretty good mage and, barrier user. Like, Lapis Code, when you can get it off, is nice, because you have a 4k HP barrier, and you also get 3 turns of more firepower. It's great! If only it didn't cost so much CP. And it's also it's kind of a double-edged sword, since, aside from Agnes, Ketra actually has the second best magic attack. But it's like, when you're using Ketra for mainly just buffing Lapis Code, his turn order falls to the wayside quite a bit, even with jacking up the speed to at least 120 plus. It's like, damn. Alright, well, I wish I had more to say on Ketra. You'd probably need to sell me on Ketra with a whole essay, but I mean, I liked his Connect events with Van. Those felt great. I just wish he got more story moments. And that is all I'll have to say. And by story moments, I'd also mean, like, you know, I mean, Tita gets a few of those. Well, yeah, Tita in Sky 1 gets a couple of moments, you know. No, wait, no, that's not a good comparison. Never mind. Chicken scratched that idea. it's like, I think after several games of tech, I don't know. I wouldn't mind Ketra, like an arc dedicated to him breaking out of the shell and finding out a little more outside of science and rationale and logic, but, well... Like, oh, wait, no. I guess we can double back to this, actually. Darn. I want to say the Connect events, but that should really be its own section, because there's so much to say about the Connect events. But that bonding time with Van and Ketra, as he talks about the philosophy of the stars to Van and whatnot, I wish there were more moments like that, you know? Or, hell, yeah. Since they're so antagonistic to each other, I really do wish there was, like, a Eren and Ketra scene where they, you know, they end up eye to eye. But, well, that's a lot of hopes and what-ifs. So, let's move on to, Judith. Oh, man. Judith is hilarious. Like, a lot of the scenes with Judith are just comedy gold. From her introduction in the sewers, where Van just ribs on her, and then all the bickering back and forth in Tharbad. And finally coming to acceptance with Van in Long Lie. Or rather, coming to accept the ASO in Long Lie. I don't know. Judith, overall, is like... You could say she's basic, but the one thing I will definitely say is she's a fun character. Even if her priorities are a bit lopsided. Like, really, Judith? This man is a frickin' 130-year-old murderer. Why are you so worried about him watching a movie? Yet you can't save his soul at this point. He's too far gone. But yeah. Like, overall, Judith... I think Judith makes a strong impression for me, and she's entertaining, but she also has her points then and there. Such as when she... I don't know, I like that scene where she talked down Shizuna, because everyone was being kind of a fucking idiot in that moment. It's like, Van, do you really have time to fight her? You're just here for the kid. What are you doing? I'm not sure. Grimcat really needs more feats for me to believe she's a worthy rival to Risha. Because they got it in the other areas, like the philosophies of both of them, where Judith is a phantom hero. Kind of like the ASO. No wonder they get along. And Risha is someone trying to act the villain, even though they end up just doing heroics 90% of the time instead. So in terms of being a foil to Risha, Judith works great. In terms of combat prowess and stuff, man, I was so let down by the Grimcat's transformation. I thought it'd be like some extra oomph. Kinda like popping, you know, Cold Steel's self-buffs. But, yeah, I guess to be fair, though, I did end up just using Judith as an Obsidia Ray caster, occasionally breaking out the all-cancel. Man, it's so nice having more all-cancel crafts to, toss out. Even though, honestly, it feels like the stats didn't do shit. It feels like the stat buffs didn't do shit in this game. Like, you have no reason to ever use Forte or... Okay. We're just gonna talk about the gameplay later. I gotta stay focused. I shouldn't be talking about gameplay too much in this section, where I'm mostly talking about the characters and how much I like them. So, going down the list of ASO, let's talk about, let's see, we already did Bearguard, Judith, Rosette! Let's go with Rosette. Because, for me, I generally like Rosette's archetype. Or, personally for me, I do like that idea of an artificial being gaining a soul and a self. It's like a tried and true trope, but damn do I love it when they execute it right. Like the Mega Man series, especially Zero. Oh man, that's probably one of my favorite stories about, you know, a robot gaining a sense of something and choosing to fight for, you know, some kind of ideal you can cheer for. And in that sense, it does feel rather touching. That with how much Rosette's lost and how synthetic she is, she fights really hard for those very tangible ideals of, like, you know, human warmth, you know. It's interesting for someone who feels like they don't have too much humanity left. They fight pretty hard for everyone else to be able to express it. And I like her dynamic with Olympia in that regard. The whole, you know, Olympia tries to throw away her feelings while Rosette's trying to have her accept that, you know, she has these feelings and stuff. And it's okay to be a human and, you know, not a killing machine, but, well, I guess the killing machine part really isn't Olympia's fault. More so the artifact's fault. But yeah, other than that, I could see where people come from when they say Rosette's kind of plain. Even though for me, I feel like Rosette's pretty playful at times. Such as all the jabs she makes at Van in the final chapter in the sewers. Where she's, oh, she's so hilarious. It's like, she has the whole politeness thing, and Van's like, "You're just as bad as the rest of them!" Actually, you see this even earlier with how Rosette chooses, you know, I'ma spend my off time stalking Van into the Blacklight District with the kids. Like, it really gives that whole wacky aunt takes the kids on a small adventure kind of vibe. Or at least that's how I would describe it. Even though Rosette is far from a wacky aunt. But, I don't know. I like her. All things considered. And it's like, are you really sure she's a robot? I don't know. I want to say Rosette's more like, the best I could say is probably like, her brain is somehow hooked up to a synthetic body and is controlling it a la Metal Gear Rising. And somehow the Simulacras have advanced Robotech so far to where Rosette can almost feel as if she actually had a human body. I'm still not sure what caused her to lose her human body in the first place. And I'm sure we're getting that in the third game, and it's probably going to be something pretty depressing. I don't see this being a very happy route for Rosette once we find out. But it would explain why she champions human values so much, despite, you know, having, I guess you could say, a lot less humanity than actual humans, but I don't know, she has a bigger heart, I'd say. And it's like, the way she throws her, or rather, the way she throws Ketra away and takes the bomb blast for him, I don't know. If she was a robot, I'd still probably cheer anyway, since it falls in the ballpark of Mega Man X and Zero kind of robots, where you really just root for them eventually. Or rather, if they're well written, you'd root for them. But I suppose that's enough rambling about Rosette. Now we're almost to, well, yeah, we're almost to Van, I suppose. So, let's see. Let's start with Aaron. Now, Aaron, I like him more than Ash. I think the Connect events really won me over in that regard. But his heart-to-heart talk with Van in the hot springs was great too. And, I guess it's all the little things, you know? Like in Chapter 3 and 4, Aaron's on the front lines there, fighting with Van. And by proxy, Fairy jumps into the front lines too. And I want to say, as far as the people he trusts to fight in the front lines in the ASO, it's definitely Fairy, Aaron, and Rosette. Well, Fairy, Aaron, Rosette, Judith, and, well, okay, basically not Ketra and Agnes, which is kind of understandable. They're squishy mages. And he wants those two to be as far from it as possible. I mean, so is Fairy, but I guess Van respects Fairy enough that she is a trained Krugo warrior. Same with Aaron being his point. Like, as far as I've noticed with Chapter 3 and 4, Aaron seems to be the point man to go, well, you know, before, like, Beauregard and... Well, actually, yeah. Aaron and Fairy seem to always be up there with Van, in the thick of it. But that's just my impression of things. I would say Aaron hits the... He really does hit that jerk older brother that actually does care quite a bit. Especially with, I like his dynamics with Fairy and Agnes. More so with Fairy. They both just annoy the shit out of each other. But they find common points then and there. And if there's one thing they can agree on, it's gotta help Van in the middle of a fight. And they're definitely loyal. Like... But, okay, that's just seeping into Fairy talk. But yeah, back to Aaron. Like, I don't know. He's a jackass. But for some reason, I like him a lot more than Ash. Maybe it's because they sprinkle more heart-to-heart moments, and unlike Ash, Aaron doesn't try to act cool about it. I mean, he kinda tries to act all edgelord about it, but... Like the scene with Yume, I don't know. And the hot springs and all, I think underneath all of the bravado, you know, he's quite likable, at least for me anyways. But maybe for me, I like a well-written jerk character that is, you know, I like a well-written jerk character that is actually, you know, sweet somewhere down. But they don't take too long to show how sweet they actually are. And they don't try to brush it off either. At least, that's the kind of writing I like, but, well, that's just me. Who knows, maybe I'm projecting. It'd be a little absurd, but, well, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But, alright. Well, we're moving down the list. Fairy. Oh man, Fairy is, like, she is so up there with my favorite kid characters in Trails. Mostly because it's like, for the most part, Fairy acts like a kid. Well, a kid that knows a lot of battlefield tactics and cleverness, but, you know, still someone exploring the world, finding out about things, having things fly over their head, which really adds to the hilarity when Aaron says his usual song and dance, and Fairy's like, "Huh, wait, what? Van hasn't killed a lady?" But I don't know. Her dynamic with Van... oh, and especially Agnes and Fairy. Those two are just... they're too sweet together. Gosh darn. Like, Agnes dotes on Fairy quite often, and Fairy really likes Agnes like she's another older sister. And that scene in the, well, I keep saying the scenes in the hot springs, but those scenes were pretty well written, outside of the crude, Segs jokes, but, well, that's besides the point. And it's like, you could tell how loyal Fairy is to Van. Like, damn, girl. Well, I mean, even before she really gets inducted into ASO, girl just whips out a gun and sticks up to Walter. Freaking Walter. It's like anyone else would be kinda shocked, but no, Fairy just jumps and sticks out her gun. Or whips out the gun to try and protect Van and Agnes. It's like, well, damn, Fairy, you get him. There's also that scene, like, after Van sees a little bit too much, and Fairy just kinda cows him into submission. That was also pretty hilarious. It's like, overall in general, I just like Fairy's bubbliness and eagerness to learn, without, having a supernatural edge and genius, so you can feel like she is. Well, okay, it's not that I have anything against the super smart kid tropes of Trails, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of refreshing to see a kid act their age. Or the age they're written in. I mean, of course, Fairy is still actually smarter than the normal, I want to say she's 13? I'm pretty sure that's the case. But yeah. I like Fairy. I like her quite a lot. Her Connect events were great too, but I suppose we'll get into that when we get into that. Well, this almost brings me to the last. Well, actually, yeah, we're pretty close to the last two. Let's talk about Agnes. Agnes is interesting. They start her off as the starry-eyed doe, but as the story progresses, she gets some shrewdness and cleverness from hanging around Van a bit too much. And it's just kind of hilarious to see her develop that way. But at the same time, it's like, how do I put it? I want to say it's endearing just watching her under Van's tutelage and finding her own path through all the gray stuff. And, coming to care for Van enough that she's like the one person in a long time who hasn't given up on him, even though that's, I want to say that might be giving too much credit, but to be fair, in that finale, Agnes led the charge, not Elaine. Sorry, Elaine lovers, but we'll get to her when we get to her. But anyways. In general, I like Agnes's dynamics with the ASO gang, and, a bit of Montmarte, Ren, but, like, I will say, you would think she'd be a boring, plain, goody two-shoes heroine, but no, she has a lot of moments in the story. And I like the way she develops, where she gets more bolder and more shrewd, but still keeps the caring heart and all. Kinda like a certain somebody, but I suppose we'll get to him soon. The whole deal with her and Gramhart, well, I could see why she uses Claudel instead of Gramhart. One paints less of a bullseye on your back than the other. And who knows? Maybe she's pulling a Chloe. Wants to live that somewhat normal life outside of royalty and leadership. But, I can't wait to see where they go with Agnes. Like, I'm certainly vested enough. Which brings me to our final ASO member, Van. Oh man, Van's great. I'm so glad they went with this. Like, I'm glad for the most part they finally give us a pro tag that more or less knows what they're doing. I mean, Van isn't completely infallible, but yeah. Like, for one, Van will just straight up kill the villain. Like, damn. Man doesn't even give Dantes the chance, he just stabs him. And you could also do the same to the other, Almada members as well. And he also mercy killed Ida before Fairy had to. Or rather, because Fairy couldn't. And I think there's enough for... Even though Van doesn't conventionally develop and learn about the world like the protagonists do, the way he supports all of the other protags in growing, along with doing some of his own, like, growing arcs then and there. I'm not really a believer in that whole learning stops the older you get kind of thing, because it doesn't. And Van's a fair enough proof of that. Where even with his vast information network, he does slowly develop through the story. And it kind of does make sense that Van develops the way he does, because, well, yeah, the guy, the DG cult is pretty fucked. And whatever they did to Van to the point where when he met Bearguard, he had no will to live. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Compound that after the DG cult, Van knows that he's part demon. And it's one of those, I really shouldn't be here, but I enjoy this place. But I really shouldn't be here because I'll harm everyone I like. And it's like, you kind of feel for the guy. Or at least I certainly do. Because, I don't know. I don't want to say which trauma is more justified than the other trauma kind of thing, but you could see why Van does his whole lone wolf's act, putting Elaine and the others at arm's length and needing ASO to basically barge in on his life to get it going somewhere a little more positive. And even before all that development, it's not like Van's completely devoid of genuinely heroic traits. Like, of course, there's the whole thing with Ren and how he probably was one of the few kind strangers to her that helped her get into a better direction. And, I mean, there's also all the little things you do in town, where you know, mend various disputes. The one quest that really stood out to me was the one where Van coerces a thief to talk to the senator's son, and the senator's son has all the good stuff, has a bunch of good things to say about the thief, even though the thief doesn't really believe it. And it's like, stuff like that. And even if you, like, say, decide to be a douchebag when a guy's trying to suicide and just trying to gaslight them out of suicide, which is honestly kind of risky, and I don't know if I would attempt such a thing, but, well, at the end of the day, Van does still care about all of those that, give him these 4 SPGs. And, yeah, it's like Aaron says later in the story. The guy is kind of all give, no take. Or at least when it comes to ASO. Although, maybe even more, even with his quest, where he's trying to get paid, it's like, Like the one with the stalker, where he turns it around and gets the stalker arrested. Or, you know, the whole thing with the, with Nelly and the threat letters. It's like, yeah, you know what? The man absolutely deserved that, surprise party during the Deer Spriggan quest. Which, by the way, holy shit, that was so heartwarming. It was kind of ridiculous how everything lined up, and Van got all the goods, but it's like, to be fair, the man's been helping with things the cops in the guild probably can't. And I'm sure the people who he's helped really appreciate it one way or another. And it's like, overall the story's trying to show that, you know, Van, you might have had a fucked up past, but you deserve love. Come on. And I don't know, it's a corny, cheesy message, but and I know it's been used with Green, but I think I appreciate it more with Van. Mostly because, I don't know. I guess I just like how Van's written. As far as that one goes, where he's trying to do so much good. And you could see what led up to this, especially by the end. Like, I guess Van is a post-CS3 read, where it's kinda understandable why he has all the self-esteem issues that he does. But that said, he does make a lot of smart plays in the story. It's I don't know. What more could I really say about Van? Oh, right, no. There is a bit more. His humor is top-notch. Like, this guy does not miss a beat when it comes to trolling various party members. And also getting it back from said party members. Like, if this were any other Trails Pro tag, they would take the insults. Van snaps back, and it's just hilarious watching him clap back at the cast. Or getting dunked on, whichever one comes first. And it's like, I like his whole deal of being the shade that nurtures all the lights, sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe it's because I certainly kinda can feel that way myself. Well, as far as things are concerned, I don't view myself as a... Well, okay, maybe I'm not that heroic, but I can get the vibe. That's all I'm saying about that one. Okay, and with the ASO done, let's talk about Elaine. Yep, that's right. It ain't Claire did nothing wrong who's talking about Elaine, it's me. I'm kidding. I just wanted to throw that in there as a gag. Speaking of Elaine, though, she is an interesting case on trust issues and how hard it is to really get past that barrier once it happens. Because, to be fair to Elaine, Van's flaked out on her twice. Twice now. Of course she's gonna have a hard time trusting him again. But at the same time, they grew up together and spent a lot of time with each other and fell in love at one point, so it's like, the lingering feelings are still there, but it's just the whole, once you break it once or twice, and it's like, it's really hard to trust a person again. And you can see it in the ending where Elaine just kind of gives up on him and like goes, well, Van's running away again, I guess. On one hand, it's like you could get angry at her, but on the other hand, it's a excellently written display of, like, they both try hard to trust each other again. Maybe more so Elaine trying to put some faith in Van again after all those years, and him showing up with a shady and less than reputable job. But, I don't know. I like that whole thing where they're trying to warm up to each other again, but they're just always missing that final step. Or they don't want to finish that final step one way or another. I'm pretty sure by the end, especially in the finale, Elaine's probably figured out that Van is a DG cult victim, and it was all due to her father. So that's several layers of guilt is probably, not even probably, it is what prevents her from forcibly jumping into Van's life like the ASO does. And there's like I want to talk about the finale and the little barrier thing Van does, but, well, let's see. I'd say other than that, I can see where people are coming from with how most of the time Elaine shows up, she just kinda nags at Van and takes digs at him. Although she does have her heart-to-hearts then and there. Like, you know, the drink at Shino's, that whole scene in Arasion, the rooftop finale scene with Renee and... Actually, yeah, with Renee and Van. So, I don't think she's not a nag. She's just someone worried that hides it because they don't want to step over lines and hurt someone. Even more so, obviously, after, you know, figuring it out in Arasion. And it's like, it hurts to see because the two get so close to reconciling a few times, but it's just not there, and it's like, man. And I think unlike most exes, they probably have a fair shot at getting back together, you know, as long as they iron out the kinks and all. But, well, shipping wars aren't really my thing, so I'm gonna refrain from going there. So, as far as Renee goes, I'm gonna need more info, but to be fair, Renee does kind of bend over backwards quite a bit to help Van, even if he is just shadily putting it as a, you know, scratch my back, your back kind of thing. But it really shows how much he cares about the two when... Oh, there was the scene in Chapter 5 where Renee just randomly gives Van a bounty. Except it's not random after all, because he was too tied up to help Elaine, so he guided Van there to help out Elaine in her vulnerable state. And there's like some other things as well, like I really like the Connect finale with Renee where they play b-ball. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. Other than that, Renee's pretty humorous and Poindexter. But the guy does get a few chuckles out of me then and there when he ribs on Van. Now then, let's talk about the Montmarte gang. It's peak. Someone said they were peak. I could frickin' believe it. I'm glad the Montmarte gang got Connect events that let you hang out with them, because damn, it's so good. Like, I'm gonna have to agree with the Ghost again. They really are just good-hearted folk. Like, Yume is... It's so hard to hate Yume. And, I don't know, she's just so adorable. It's so hard for me to say anything otherwise. With how she just lights up the room every time she's in the scene. And she doesn't do, you know, the usual super smart kid knows a bunch of scientific formula. She's just cheerful. And one of the events with Van mentioning that the Montmarte gang were like... The Montmarte family were basically like the first rays of light he's had in a long time. Well, before all this, it's like, damn. I wish I were more emotional, because I'd freaking choke up reading that. But yeah, aside from Humes, you could tell how much Paulette and Victor care for Van and the ASO crew, too. Especially Victor, surprisingly. Like, he acts so gruff to Van, but the guy is always rooting for Van. Especially on that final Connect event. This is just making me want to talk about the Connect events, because they're all so freaking good! Okay, but we're still talking about characters for now. I'm almost done, though. There won't be too much from here. So, okay, let's quickly talk about the main villains. Almada. As far as Almada goes... Okay, as far as Almada goes... Alexandre and Viola are kind of forgettable, if not a little boring. Even though when you do get to hear their backstories, it is pretty horrifying. Like, Viola's a sex slave, and, I can't say I blame Alexandre for betraying his king like that. Yeah, I'd probably go Jaime Lannister, too. If, there was someone like that. But at the same time, there's really nothing else after all that. And the whole backstory thing's in Chapter 5, so whenever they show up, it's just boring, generic villain things. Something, something, fear and evil. Someone compared them to the ILF in Cold Steel, and yeah, I could see it. It's a bit too derivative. I don't have too many opinions on Olympia, other than they could probably bring her back. And a lot of it was the doll's fault, so you could just give her an arc like Rene. Like Ren, but I don't know. Maybe it's fine if she's, well, I don't know if she'd show up again in Kai. We never really... I'm not sure which ending is actually the canon one. Well, okay, I think in her case, the canon ending is not killing her. But, yeah. So the first three are kinda there. Melchior, though. Wow! They haven't made someone this much of a sleazebag since, Weissman. And holy shit, Melchior delivers! Like, this guy's just... he's such a jackass. He's the kind of jackass you just want to die. And his voice actor, in the veins of Joffrey Baratheon, he does such a good job at making Melchior so freaking hateable. It's like, damn. Now, as for Dantes, I want to say he does alright as a starter villain. But, other than that, I think Melchior really stole the show as far as Almada is concerned. Dantes is kinda there like the Ganon of, Daybreak. Although, his personal connection to Van and the history that ensues is pretty interesting, all things considered. Along with him and Dingo, but other than that, it's like... I don't know what else I could really say about Dantes other than cool voice, one of the best final boss themes I've heard in a while, etc. Okay, let's move on to Harwood and I guess Ouroboros. Like, Walter's Walter. I mean, it feels like Walter mellowed out, but he's still the same battle-hungry junkie of Sky. I will say, Lucrezia is attractive, hot, if you will, but I kinda wish we had more to go off of her. Harwood, though. I'm gonna have the hottest of hot takes with Harwood. I will say that as much as I like Takaya Kuroda, I think Harwood's EN voice actor really sells the villainy a lot better and makes it a much more convincing performance, or at least for me. That's kind of my hot take with Harwood's VA. Now then, let's go to, I know Mizu likes her, and honestly I do too, as far as the scenes Shizuna is in. It's like, you expect her to be some sort of stoic, badass swordsman. But no, she's fucking goofy. Almost borderline cute. Like, especially when she's like waving to Van in the background. And the freaking car date. Holy crap, Shizuna's great. I just wish, well, okay, at least in the next game, if she shows up again, I hope I can customize her this time. Make her the 8 leaves, 1 sword god she was meant to be. Or, well, black god, 1 sword, whatever. I don't know. The power scalings are wacky all over the place, but as a character, Shizuna's pretty enjoyable. Like, she adds the same kind of troll energy that Eren adds to a scene. If I had to say anything. It sounds kind of ironic saying that too, considering the Japanese voice actors for Shizuna and Eren are siblings. Man, I certainly didn't see that one coming. Okay, I'm gonna go rapid fire on the last 3. As far as Fi and Jin go, well, Fi and Jin, I kinda wish they did more with Jin. Fi, though, Fi gets a nice dynamic, or like a mini arc of sorts with Fairy. And actually, yeah, their little arc of Jaeger's sisters to Ida was pretty great. And the Bracer route, oh man, the Bracer route was so nice. Because at the end, Barry's like, I hope Ida's proud. And it just feels so touching having Fi there going like, I think she would be. Though, I just like the Bracer route in general, because there's a lot of heartwarming things in the Bracer route. I don't know. As boring and vanilla as that route is, it's probably one of my favorite routes in Chapter 5. Now then, let's see. Marielle and Dingo. Let's, I don't really have too many thoughts on Marielle and Dingo, other than I do like how they tried to, flip the usual. It's like every Trails has a reporter, right? And it's usually like one of the more experienced reporters trying to get the hot scoops from our heroes. But this time, it's Marielle just being led all over the place, trying to chase after Dingo, but just getting into one weird spot or another. And I think at the end, where she tries to turn it around and, you know, actually become a competent reporter. For me, I think I like that moment. And how she grows to accept the ASO. Although it's after Dingo dies. And it's like, man, I like Dingo. I thought he was actually gonna stick around. Like, Trails doesn't usually kill NPCs on screen, but no, Dingo fucking dies in that nuke. And so do another 100,000 people. Like, damn, they really went for it. Holy fuck. Trails is not messing around. As for Dingo himself, I like the Bond events. I like that he tries to play, you know, secret mentor and all. And it's like, I think overall, would I put Dingo up there with, like, the likes of Anton or some of the other NPCs I'd like to talk to? Possibly. And the last one, Bermati. Sometimes it feels like Van forgets Bermati's been there for him too. At least that's my impression, but I don't know. I'd say Bermati's like, what if they took Michel from Zero and Azure and pushed it further? And it's like, for the most part, I find Bermati fine. He's flirtatious, but the guy clearly has layers and whatnot. I kinda wish he had some Connect events. Like, damn, I would have done some Bermati Connect events. Like, they gave Montmarte one, they gave Dingo one, why not Bermati? Come on, they even gave Nino one. Like, I want to hear about one of Van's older friends who's been around the block with him, but, well, it is what it is. And with that, I think I'm out of things to really say about the characters. Or at least things to say that wouldn't leave me here all day. So, let's change the subject and talk about the gameplay. Oh boy, the gameplay is certainly something, alright. Like, I'll admit, I'm probably at fault for trying to get Fairy the super early Arc Feather setup. Which I probably could have done better if I just followed an actual guide for it, but, well, it is what it is. But yeah, I can see where they're going with the gameplay. Because for the last roughly 5 trails, you can straight up not let the boss have a turn to threaten you. While in Daybreak, they try to force you to eat an enemy turn somehow, some way. Of course, you can still do things like stack delay and delay the boss for like 6-ish turns, but they do get their turns eventually. As far as things go, I like playing around with the Zyphas and trying to get the combinations, but once you do get the combinations, it's like, why bother with anything else? Like, once you get Arc Feathers, just slap it on all the mages and just go to town and have fun. Or, in the case of Van and other physical characters, you might as well get Burst Gain, maybe the Executioner skill, or the Fatal Finish. Let's see, the field gameplay, I like what they're trying to do with it, but at the same time, I could see older fans just being kind of fed up that, you know, you can't just run behind the enemy, hit them, get some stars, and get a double turn. Or alternatively, hit them with a field assault and get a triple turn. I will say, the early game is kinda challenging, and if you don't really know how to work the combo system, it can be challenging, but once you figure out how to stack like above 50 hits, you can tear this game apart pretty badly. Especially if you abuse mages and arc feather, but even without that, if you build Van for Chaos Mare, it's over. Chaos Mare Van is so fucking busted. Especially in the Grendel fight, holy shit. I see this man just casually do 150k to a boss and I'm like, wow, Grendel is busted. Oh, right, one thing I didn't like too is they really nerfed the Sepith gain, holy crap. You basically have to wait until endgame to actually get anywhere with it. Because otherwise it's like, the best idea is to just find a group of 8 as far as small mobs go, round them up together and just S-break and hope you get the overkill bonus. But other than that, I enjoyed the gameplay. Although I'd prefer the old turn wheel where it's like up and down instead of sideways. I don't know, it feels harder to gauge the enemy turn and your turn when it's going side to side, but maybe that's just me, of course. But yeah, other than that, it's fun customizing the Zyphas. I'd say it's interesting that they brought back somewhat the Trails Tetris system after having it be absent for like 5 games now? Alright. Whew. Now, where was I? Okay, I think that's all I really have to say about the gameplay. The field battles do become a little monotonous, and the only characters that kinda shake up the field battles is like Fi and Shizuna and their crazy multi-hits that if you land the charge attack for either of them, you will probably stun the field. Okay, that's enough about the gameplay. Let's talk chapter by chapter. Let's see, I'll probably have to keep it as concise as I can, since... Well, actually no, I still have a fair amount of things to say. So, let's see. Maybe I'll just remove the timestamps. Oh wait, no. I think I have it right, because I was talking about characters. Where was I when it comes to gameplay? I think I yapped about gameplay for a bit. Yeah. Okay, it's right around 1:30. Yeah, it's right around 1:30, 3:57. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like Kuro's gameplay could use more time in the oven, but that's just me. Well, I mean, Daybreak, well, same thing, really. So, yeah, let's move on to the chapters. These will be a bit quicker, since they're my general summed impressions. But let's see. The prologue was a pretty great introduction to Van. You have people actually dying right away to raise the stakes. And then you got the whole crazy transformation with Grendel. and the start of the mystery with the Genesis, Almada. It's like, for a prologue chapter, it does what it needs to do. It's great. And the hype train continues in Chapter 1, when we go to Cray and encounter one of the Genesis. And it's like, I mean, Chapter 1 overall was, I'd say it was pretty good, but when it gets to Cray, when it gets to fighting zombified Ida, oh man. The way Chapter 1 ended was wild. Mostly because it's a thing you really don't see in Trails until now. Where the Kruga are trying to get Fairy to kill Ida, but she clearly does not want to. So Van frickin' steps in, like the man he is. Or rather, not the man he is. That sounds... I shouldn't be encouraging this kind of thing, but Van steps up to the plate to alleviate Fairy of the burden, and kills Ida. And it's like, holy shit, the main hero of the story frickin' performed a mercy kill. Wow! As far as Chapter 1 goes, it does nicely introducing a new party member and the main story threat. Along with the fact that the mercy kill closes the deal that, yeah, Daybreak's definitely gonna be a far darker topic. Now, after that, I liked Chapter 2 of Daybreak. For the most part, I liked Aaron's introduction, that whole thing with the Tyrant, running around Longport, and just seeing how HeyUA works to some degree, along with other HeyUA members than Sal. And it's like, and the truck just keeps rolling with this one, because you witness Aaron's friends dying, and it's like, damn, they really went for it. And as far as the chapter to chapter goes, so far for both Chapter 1, 2, and the prologue, they each give the main focus of the chapter ample amount of time. Like, with Aaron, it's like, okay, with Aaron, the guy at first just brushes off Van, but then they get into a scrape, and I really wanted that scrape to have a definitive conclusion, but Elaine freaking shows up and ruins the party. Man. Chapter 3, though, kinda drops the ball. Although it's mostly due to the fact that it's like, I don't think Rosette gets that much focus and development in Chapter 3. In fact, her chapter feels more like it's Chapter 4, and maybe they should have just had Rosette join in Chapter 4 instead, but... well... I mean, I like Tharbad as a location. I don't know if I quite dig the plot for Chapter 3 due to... well, I didn't really like the mask plot in Reverie either. Feels like they could have done a little bit better there. But, again, that is also just me. Chapter 4 in Basel, I would say it's great. Overall. It's great overall, and I think Callahan... I don't know about the nuclear thing. The bombs were definitely wrong. Nuclear energy. I get the feeling this is gonna factor into something regarding the Space Deku base that Graham Hart's scheming. it's probably going to be a part of the spaceship being able to fly to such a base in the first place. Probably. But who knows, and we'll see. But yeah, overall, Chapter 4 wasn't too bad of a chapter. Like, for me, I don't know, I just like that whole vibe. Ketra slowly warming up to the gang, especially after Rosette takes the blow for him. And it's like, honestly, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think they would bench a party member for that. I mean, I know they've had Agate take a bullet for Tita, suffer from poison, and the gang needing to get Zemiri and Moss to fix them up, but other than that, it's like, Rosette just lost a limb for Ketra. And it's like, dang! And with Ketra, it is nice to see how less lonely he becomes as the chapter progresses. You know, due to hanging out with the ASO, and I would bet that having the students from Aramis check out the observatory also really helped his mood too. But other than that, I'm really hoping for more on Ketra and Daybreak 2 when it gets here. Let's see. I think the intermission chapter was well done. It was such a lighthearted chapter. Even though for some of the plot points, like Maxim being Paulette's old flame, it's like, all I have to say is, Maxim, what the fuck are you doing? How did you lose Paulette? Fucking Paulette. Like, people would die on hills for someone as nice as her, and you threw her away for fame. What the... Well, but as angry as I am for that one, to some degree, I will say, if they legitimately write a solid redemption arc somehow for Maxim, I mean, fuck it, I'll clap. Like, holy shit, they must still have some good writing chops left if they can pull that off. But I guess we'll see where it goes. As for the Long Lie trip, I'd say it was a lot of fun, mostly due to all the banter. The scenes like Aaron's whole "cocks out with the boys." Actually, yeah, that whole hot spring scene was just gold. And the Judith waterfall scene was also pretty darn gold, too. And the way it's so lighthearted, you'd think nothing crazy's gonna happen. And then Dante's nukes a village, and I'm like, holy shit, Trails actually went there. No mysterious everyone was out of the village kind of thing. No, 100,000 people died. And they tie it so well into Chapter 5, where you can talk to the NPCs and see the aftermath. And especially that one kid who's super stunned, because it was only a few days ago the kid was helping his neighbors like get their cat back, and he was also in love with one of them and wanted to be a bracer. And then the village he probably grew up with, like, just gets wiped off the face of the earth. That's it. Like, this is some villain story material if I didn't know any better. Though the death game kinda deflates the stakes a little bit. Like, I want to say maybe they should have detonated a bomb with the Heracles thing and actually had some casualties as a warning, but that also, to be fair to them, that would probably expose the plan a little too early and fuck up all the timings. So, yeah, well, I guess other than that, I'd say the Tournament of Death arc was, well, now we can finally talk about the Chapter 5 routes. And I have to say, if you want lore, you might as well play the Ouroboros route. It also lets you field 4 party members, and having Walter and Lucrezia as 8 NPCs. So you're fielding roughly 6 people. As for the Bracer one, what really stood out to me there is that it's like you can transform as the Grendel with Elaine in the party, and she'll comment on it and is rather shocked. And especially at the end of that chapter where Van is, it's like if you take a bullet to the shoulder trying to save Agnes, it's like, damn, Elaine and Agnes are shocked, especially Elaine, and it's like, dang. And just as much at the very end when Van tries to kill and gets cock-blocked by the bracers, Elaine's like, I'm not letting you become a killer unnecessarily. It's like, wow, she really does still care, even under all the brass and bravado. It's like, that route really shows the Inklings that it's like, Elaine gives a shit about you, Van. What is wrong with you? Oh, jeez. I can feel my throat drying out. Oh, no. Alright. Let's see. The final chapter. Let's see. I mean, the action sequences and the whole lead up to the Genesec Towers were... I mean, it's alright. But to be fair, this is me after 10 games of Trails with this kind of finale. You can see where I am slightly clocking out here. Now, as for the, final boss finale, though, oh man, the lore dump was like, it just gets the head spinning with all the theories. And the lead up. Oh, the lead up to Van's Grendel Shin transformations just... It's like, for me, I could see why Agnes would say, no, Van, don't do it! Because, well, I mean, if you listen to Mare say, hey, Van, are you sure you want to do this? Are you absolutely sure? And Van's like, yeah, sure. I'll wake up from the dream. It's like, bro, I'd be fucking worried too. Enough to say, no, don't do it! Like, I'd say it's just bad when you hear, are you sure you want to do this, man? Are you really sure you want to do this? Because it's like, most of the time, Mare just, sells him the pitch, dons the nightmare. But this time, even Mare is worried. Which... I want to have a theory in regards to Mare, but that's gonna have to wait for the near end of this stream. Other than that, I will say the finale is a bit of a well, not even a bit. It is a rehash of getting Reen back. But I don't know. I think the ASO's dynamics sold me so much on them that I was rooting for the kids and all to get Van back at the end there. And at least they resolved it in one go without needing a second game. Although I don't even think a second game would work. Because if they failed to get back Van there, it's over. They're not getting him back. Presumably, he's just gonna cut himself off from Zemuria, and there's just no way to get to him at that point. But yeah, I think that'll conclude my train of thought in regards to the finale. Well, until the theories and other thoughts kind of thing. Okay. I think I'm gonna move one of these up here, then take a small break and then come back and wrap up this whole talk. Okay, let's move on to my favorite OSTs. Okay, well, let's see. What did I put on here? Let's start off with an unexpected one. So, starting off at number 5, I really like Cloudy Cloudy. I don't know, it's such a good vibe track that really sells you on that noir and kind of grayness of Calvard. Like, I think one of my favorite parts from this one, personally, is the, it's when they whip out the accordion. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but, let me see here. But yeah, it's such a great mood setter song, in my opinion, of course. And, yeah, figures that Koguichi's on this, since the guy makes a lot of great non-battle themes. But yeah, it really does sell the vibe of Daybreak a lot. Well, there's just a lot about it. It's probably... Oh, I think my favorite part's coming up soon. There it is! God, I love this part. But yeah, that's my number 5. I would say it kinda suffers just like What Lies Ahead for me, in that Cloudy Cloudy gets used too much. Same with What Lies Ahead. They probably should have had at least maybe one more environmental / serious moment track, but it is what it is. And for the most part, I like it. And now for another one where you actually rarely hear this unless you stay in the office. But damn, this track's great too. It's the Arkride Solutions office. Like, damn, this is one of those banger start of the day tracks. Like, you get a sense it's trying to be the cool guy, but it's also pretty, you know, upbeat, sorta mellow happy. It's like, yup, just another day at the office with a bunch of 4 SPGs. Would you like coffee? Oh, this part is where it gets so good. I wish we could hear this more often, though. It feels so bad it's underutilized. Oh, this part's also so good. Man, I could keep going with this track, but speaking of other unutilized tracks, here we go. This theme, the Vashtar Palace theme, it's so good! But why is it so underutilized? It's criminal! We won't listen to the full thing, but still. Man, this track's so good. I hope it comes back in the next game. Oh man, why is this track so good? Okay. But seriously though, I really wish Vashtar Palace was longer. Mostly so I could listen to this track a lot longer. Vashtar Palace feels weirdly short for a final showdown with Dantes. I thought they would try to do something bullshit, like throw a few more big mega monsters in the way to try and stall the time while the bomb is ticking down, and then they finally get to Dantes, and it's like 30 minutes left or some bullshit. It's like, holy shit. And wait, I guess at that point, I think it would be appropriate. I'm not kind of fucked up. They have to balance the battle. But yeah, it would be appropriate at that point to introduce like a turn limit. Although I don't know if Trails wants to write an ending where Dantes wins and fucks up the whole of Arasion and blows everyone to bits. Maybe that's a little too dark. Even for Trails. So I could see why they didn't really go through with something like that. Yeah, I shouldn't design games. That'd be fucking terrible. It's already bad enough with Sigmund and the time limit for extra BP. Imagine a time limit where, yeah, if you fail, it's a bad ending. Whoops. Yeah, good job. You got Arasion nuked. But, yeah, I don't think Trails would do something like that. Or at least not early on, but, well. Anyways, let's see. My second favorite is actually the ending. Beyond the Dawn. We'll probably listen to it again at the very end of this whole chat. But, yeah. Man, it's got such a good... I don't know. I like it as an ending song. It really does sell the whole... Oh man, well, our heroes actually won the day after all that. And honestly, they kind of earned it. Okay, by the way, since we are talking about OSTs, I can get into a bizarre tangent. This one reminds me of it. Okay, it reminds me of Mega Man X3's ending song, specifically the PSX version. Let me see if I can find it actually. Cause no, it's not I'm a Believer. It's different. No, it's not that one either. Yeah, there we go. It's this one. That's not gonna be the only weird music comparison I'm gonna make. But seriously though, Beyond the Kuro sounds... It has similar energy to Mega Man X3's PSX ending. It's that whole, like, smooth rock jazz finale? I'm not sure how to put it. I'm not sure how to really put it, but I don't know. I find the vibes for those two similar as heck. But maybe that's also just me. Only on this channel, you will find a Trails player who somehow plays Neo, Mega Man X3, and some other bizarre choices then and there. But anyway, let's go on to my favorite track. The track that some people have called, or at least, I think someone said, Unmitigated Kino, and, well, who am I to disagree? It really is. It's so good! It's also part of one of my favorite moments in Daybreak, but, let's just keep yapping for a bit longer with this track. It's so good. Like, you have this angelic chorus, and then it goes into the hard rock. It goes into the hard rock as Van just reaches his limits and says, "Fuck it, I don't care. I gotta beat Dantes." Alright. You know what, fuck it, let's keep going. I don't care. This track's too good to just stop in the middle. Oh, yeah, this part's so good. But yeah, okay, that's enough listening to the track. But damn, it's so good. The lead up to the track where Van's like, the song really sells the final desperate gambit to beat the villain so hard. Because Van just finally, or maybe not finally, because it's actually a bad thing, but Van decides, fuck it, we're going full Grendel. And And it's like, okay, it's the same transformation, but the music and the desperation of that scene, it's so good. Fuck, I want to watch that scene again. I don't care anymore. But, well, actually, no, I shouldn't just randomly watch a scene. But it's like the lead up to the music where Van's like, I'll wake up from the dream. And Agnes is like, no! And then the guy transforms into, well, admittedly a recolored Grendel. But it's like, in the moment, I just didn't give a shit if it was just Grendel with dark sky blue. Actually, yeah, dark blue lines. In fact, I think it's kind of fitting with how Van describes himself as the dark blue before the... Yeah. Van describes himself as the dark blue before the dawn. It's quite freaking poetic that his third Grendel transformation is, well, what do you know? Dark blue. And it's like, damn. And, well, shoot. This is probably where I'm going to talk about the script. Well, maybe I'll just save that for my favorite moments. Or at least one of them. But yeah. Unmitigated Evil is so good. And I guess I did say I would compare it music. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's this really ancient one. There we go. That's the one. It says Mint Jam Rivals, but I know it as Mint Jam Z. And honestly, I guess in general, Jindo's, well, I mean Trails and East music kind of remind me of this one. Oh, wait, that's not it. That's the vocal! Ugh. I don't need the vocals. That's the one I grew up with. Okay. That's enough bizarre music comparisons. Let me type this up real quick. Let's see. Which other songs? Oh, right. But yeah, that's overall my favorites in order. Starting with Cloudy. Then it's the Arkride Solutions office. Then it's the Realm of Death and Play, Beyond the Dawn, and finally, Unmitigated Evil. That's about it for me as far as my top songs from Daybreak goes. We'll see how Daybreak 2 goes, but yeah. I should probably take that water break soon. It's only been 2 hours. I really shouldn't be this dried out. What is wrong with me? Well, maybe I'll talk about one more topic. Just one more before I refill on a cold drink, because it's a little too hot here. Let's go with some side quests. Okay. I want to say, the side quest quality, as far as scripts go, has risen quite a lot. And I think the LRC thing, despite it being maybe a bit pointless at times, I do like giving the player the choice to end the quest however they want. You know, ending the quest or certain decisions however they want, without there being an obvious right choice or a consequence like, you know, say, loss of BP points if you don't pick a certain option. Even if you may or may not agree with it, you still want the points for the rewards. I think the LRC is a fair compromise to that, where, you know, you make your right choice, and then they give you, well, basically a moral choice on how you want to end it. And some of these quests do end interestingly one way or another. Like, okay, so for the Devancy brothers in Tharbad, you could be a hero and save them, or you could be a complete douchebag and let the Gators and the Devancys fight out, half their health, and then swoop in and kill everyone with an S-break. It's great. Or even earlier, where you could try to reason with Heiyue to not ban the guy for too long, or you could just beat the shit out of them and get them to agree by force. It's like, And I will say, for the heat of the moment, the choices you get in Chapter 3 of, Chapter 5, I mean, the choices you get for, whether or not Van kills, it's like, okay, ultimately at the very end, in the final chapter, where everyone fucking revives, it's a pointless choice. But at the heat of the moment, it's an interesting one. I guess it was made by Falcom to see how bloodthirsty their player base was. I want to say that's the working theory behind why they would give you the option to kill the Armada members, even though it actually kind of doesn't do much. But yeah, I will still say though, it's an inspired choice, and I'm glad they tried for something like that. Let's see. One of my other favorite side quests in that whole... Well, actually, there's a lot of good ones. There's one where you could keep up the lie about, a girlfriend's boyfriend being dead. Or, I mean, just splitting up with her and cheating on her. Or you could tell her the truth and try to dissuade her from getting revenge on Armada. It's like, damn, that's some rough choices. Or there's this one with the thief. Probably my favorite one, too. Because you would think, or at least for me, I thought following the gray option was the right idea. But the law option is actually more satisfying to follow through in regards to that one. Because it just ends up incredibly heartwarming. But yeah, overall, I'd say the quality of the side quests scripting went up. And, yeah. I would hope there are more interesting quests like that in the near future. I don't know. It's a breath of fresh air. Although, I guess I'm saying that as someone who's probably just tired of Erebonia for too many times. And that maybe things like that were already there, and the fatigue's just not letting me see it. Well, I don't think they ever gave you choices and branching ending paths, even if it does kind of end up the same. But, I think that's all I really have to say about the side quests. I keep on yapping, even though I really should just go get some water. Okay, let's see. Okay, if I start with the connect events, we're gonna be here for a while. So I'm just gonna do my classic BRB typing. Okay, and we're back. Okay. Let's get on the final couple topics. Okay. For the Connect events. They're all so freaking good! Holy cow! Some of my standout favorites for Connect, of course, are like the one with Elaine and the mute kid at the finale. It's so good! Like, they finally get the kid to talk after being so traumatized by PTSD. It's like, ah. And there were some other ones I really liked too. Like, I think in general, as far as Connect events go, Ketre gets some pretty good ones. Rosette gets some good ones about truly feeling and whether the feelings are real or not. I know it's a tried and true arc, but I can't help but feel for it every time. Maybe it's just all the Nier. Maybe it really is just all the Niers creeping up on me. And it's like, with Ketra, I'm kinda reminded of how, you know, Nier treats, Emil, where Emil's shunned and whatnot. But, Nier sticks with Emil Emil sticks with Nier thick and thin. So, I guess there's things like that. Let's see. The Montmarte events with, Yumis and, actually, yeah, mainly Yumis, but Victor and Paulette show up in a few of them. Oh man, those were so good. Especially that one where Van's like teaching Yume's chess. He's teaching Yume how to play chess, and then the old man barges in, but then Van keeps going, and he thinks to himself about how, Yume and Montmarte in general are like the first lights in his life after some very dark times, and it's like, ah. And it gets reciprocated later too, when Victor just outright admits that Van's like a son to him, and it's like, ah. So that whole spiel at the end at the Genesik Tower with Van going on about how Ketra has a whole family. He's like, Van, what the fuck, man? You had Montmarte. You have ASO. What are you doing? Ah! But yeah, so the Montmarte events are great. The Judith ones are hilarious, but really insightful as to what Judith is all about. As far as passion for acting, and, well, passion for justice, I suppose, if she's willing to fight it out as a Grimcat with them. And I guess also the passion to her craft, and, you know, it's a series of interesting ones to see. Actually, I think for the most part, I don't know if I could really say there is a bad Connect event. Like, there are a lot of good ones, and I will say the finale certainly had me, it's like, damn, who do I want to pick? Do I want to pick Yume's, or do I want to pick Ren's? It's like, oh, these choices hurt to make. Oh, right, and I guess speaking of the Connect events, it's interesting that you can hang out with certain NPCs. Like, I don't think that's been a thing in Cold Steel or the Azure games. Because otherwise you could do stuff like, I don't know, Lloyd and Dudley events. Well, I think there are technically that. There might technically be Lloyd and Dudley in Azure, but... Like, imagine a Trails in the Sky, where you can choose to hang with, like, hang with Chloe for extra events, or, I don't know, hang out with, well, okay, I almost said Matron Theresa, but that's probably not gonna work out. Oh yeah, extra bond events with, like, Shara or Oliver, I don't know, something like that. Wait, no, that's party members. If I'm thinking NPCs, it would be like trying to have a hangout event with, Neil and Dorothy. Aw, could you imagine a Connect event with those two? That, I don't know whether it'd go into hilarious or somewhat heartwarming. I guess we'll see. Well, we'll see if the remake actually does something like that. If they do something like that, I'd be like, what the heck, Trails? Alright. But yeah, it does befuddle me a bit. You can hang out with Dingo, you can hang out with Nina, you can hang out with, actually, yeah, Dingo, Nina, you can hang out with Daswani, and sometimes Nate shows up. But it's like, damn, they really aren't gonna give Burmati some events. It's like, what the heck, Falk? What are you doing? But, yeah. But other than that, a lot of them are, actually a fair majority of the Connect events are pretty well written. Let's see. I like following Aaron's whole side arc, and his, what, the second or third event where he bakes sweets for Yume and talks about his mom. It's like, damn, he's kind of won me over. And he's not even ashamed of making sweets and stuff either. It's like, ah. And speaking of Aaron, there's also that really wonky finale where they go at each other in the cages in the underground. Van wins, and then they loop into a spiel about rivalries, only to loop back about, I don't know, something else that I would argue ends up being kind of heartwarming, I suppose. It's like, for all of his blusters and bravado, Aaron does like helping Van, probably. And by extension, well, not even probably. He likes helping Van, and the ASO. One way or another. If I do a New Game Plus playthrough of Daybreak, I'd probably go try out the Nina and Daswani events, and see where they end up. But other than that, let's see, what other ones were there that I really liked? Oh, wait, Fairy's whole arc. The Fairy's Bond events are great. But, well, I just like Fairy a fair bit, so maybe I'm biased. Also doesn't help my case that she was actually one of my main mages. Not exactly the best way to use her, but, yeah. Anywho. Let's go to one of my favorite moments. Or, well, I say one of them because there's a bunch, but I do want to keep a good time limit here. Okay, so as I've explained earlier, one of my favorite moments is, it's when, it's in the finale, when Van just throws away all caution, finally gives in, or not finally, but Van throws away all caution because the ASO is in a pickle and they need to beat Dantes. So Van just throws it all on the line, wakes up from the dream, the music swells so well, I accidentally end up in a fucking 1v1 because the party got wiped out. It's like, oh, well, let's not mind that part, but still. It's so good. The lead up, the score, the desperation of the track, it's like, The only thing I'm bummed out about is, well, I know Mizu brought it up, and I wasn't sure if the OG had dual audio, but it did. It had Japanese and English at the same time. So let's see. I'm gonna play the audio of the moment.
I am both the nightmare. Aims guide me to this realm.
Like, yeah, the music swells right around the time Van's like, these fragile chains guide me to this realm. And by them I am made manifest. I am the nightmare. Oh wait, yeah, there we go. These fragile chains guide me to this realm, where I am now made manifest. I am both the nightmare and the beast that devours it. It's like, damn, the scene and the music, it just fits too well. Only thing I'm bummed out about the dub is, yeah, it could have been a perfect opportunity here to have, like, the second language could probably be something like Danish or German. I would say match up with Grendel pretty well. I need Google Translate because it'll actually say it. Let's see how this sounds in, no, not Spanish.
Diese zerbrechlichen Ketten führen mich in diesen Reich, in dem ich jetzt manifestiert werde.
Okay, that's the Google Translate, but I don't know. It sounds pretty aggressive enough that you could probably slot it in somewhere and layer it on top of Van's speech. Because, okay, as far as the dual audio thing goes, I have to give it to the Japanese version. But which version I think flows better and feels more, I don't know, extra oomph? I would say it's the localized version. I feel like I'm gonna get shot for this opinion. But I like the scripting of the... Yeah, I like the scripting of the English version a lot more. Because, oh damn. How does it go in Japanese then? Oh, right. So the original Japanglish is like, by the lead of the fragile chain, I am... No wait, I'm existing here. I am Nightmare. I am Grendel, biting myself. It's... Yeah, that's some Japanglish, man. But this one fits. I don't know, this one just flows a lot better. I mean, of course it's actual English, but it's like, the way it's written, it flows, and said, it just flows pretty well. It's like, these fragile chains guide me to this realm, where I am now made manifest. I am both the nightmare and the beast that devours it. I don't know. I find that sounding a lot better than I am Grendel biting myself. That sounds kinda goofy to me more than badass. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I do have to concede. This version could have used dual layering on that Grendel transformation. God damn it. What a missed opportunity. But, that being said, yeah, that's probably my favorite moment in Daybreak. When Van just throws it all on the line, with the music swelling, Anya's being clearly concerned that this won't end well, will it? But yeah, damn, that Dante's fight really stuck around in my mind. Okay, so let's go to the crackpot theories that I do have. Okay, let's start with Mare. Now, there's a lot of things we can say about Mare. Mare is from the other side. But we also learn at the end that Van is vagrant Disapora. And why would a demon need someone to be a limiter to limit how much Van can access Vagrant's powers? And why does Mare care so much that Van might fuck himself over if he keeps doing this? Because one of the blurred words is probably demonization. We just weren't meant to know it, but it's probably demonization. And the more he uses Grendel, the more closer he becomes to fully melding with Vagrant Disapora. I mean, Diaspora. So, I have to wonder, like, Van says he can't remember Mare, so, in theory, did Van actually have another life on the other side before he slipped into, Well, okay, so this rounds back to McBurn possibly being a fusion of a human self and the otherworldly self. So you'd have to wonder if Van had some kind of past life in the other side, and Mare was his assistant, but then he somehow fused with Vagrant Diaspora, or Disapora, even though Van didn't want to. So, I guess before the memory wipe or whatever, maybe Mare was like a best friend of Van's, and they devised a system to have him be able to use the demon powers without going too far into the demon realm. That sounds too crackpot, so let's go with a more plausible one. In theory, Mare could possibly be the beast that guards the Time Septarian, which is a bit kooky, but to be fair, Mare can stop time every time she appears to chat with the party. That's not normal. So, she could be the holy beast of time, but it's mentioned that she's from the other side, but I guess no one really ever said the holy beast couldn't be from the other side. So, who knows? Or she could be a demon, but she went the Sparta route where she rebelled against the demons and wants to aid Van the human, or something like that. There's so many mysteries involving Mare, but that's some of the theories I can rattle off my head. Now, as for some more contentious topics, let's see. Van without his, let's see. Van without Grendel is, I'd say he's like a B+ bracer, maybe? Like, if it were Van 1v1ing someone like Sarah, he'd probably get torn to shreds. He's not winning that one. Against Fee, though, I could probably believe it if Van wins, but yeah. not a powerhouse by any means. So this brings into the question with Grendel. How strong is Grendel? Because Grendel does a bunch of shit in the story. And it's like McBurn, when he transformed into his demon form, also kinda had a Grendel silhouette. So, yeah. That brings into question how strong Grendel really is. Though I guess some of it kinda depends on Van. Like, let's see. I want to say Van could probably fight... Well, I'm not sure if he could fight Spirit Uni-Ran. I mean, Spirit Uni-Reen. I want to say he can, but who knows. Don't know how he'd fare against Shizuna either. But, let's see. I want to say, if it's from the other world, it's probably a fairly significant power boost. And we haven't really seen the full capabilities of Grendel, the true Grendel, but to be fair, that's also Van giving up on life, so we probably won't see that one for a while. Maybe when the stakes get too high, he'll probably do it all over again, but, yeah. Let's see. I guess other than the mare theory, I guess that's the only one I really had in mind. As to who Mare could be. It's either a demon that went the route of Sparta and just would rather help Van than try to help vagrants take over Van. Or... Sorry about that. But yeah. Okay. I think that's all I really wanted to say. Let's just conclude this one. I think that's all my thoughts for, Oh wait, no. There is one more thing I wanted to talk about. I want to say, I can understand why Van did what he did in the finale. Even though it is kind of the same thing as what Reen did. It's like, to be fair, the guy's an abuse victim. And it's like, he did find out early on that he's housing a demon. And said demon could kill everyone he loves. And it's like, I think unlike Reen's, it's kind of a pressing matter. Because there are ways to subjugate Reen's. But if Van goes out of control, I think only the church would probably stand a chance, and the church would probably... Well, it's a lot of conjectures, but it's like... I'd say Spirit Uni Van could be subdued. I'm not sure if a Van that lets Vagrant take control and do whatever... I don't know. But to be fair, they hype up Vagrant Diaspora without really giving the thing a few feats. If you could say definitively that Vagrants wiped out a timeline, and they had to seal him or something to prevent him from wiping out our timeline, yeah, then I could probably believe, yeah, this guy's nuts. But, till then, I really don't know what Van's demon does. So... yeah, I think for the most part on my end, I think all the choices leading up to Van doing the sacrifice play, as sad as it is to say, I'd say it's reasonable enough. And the logic is kind of thought out there. I mean, it's just like CS4. Oh, actually, no, not quite. Because CS4's endings is I hate that it's decided by a coin flip, but that's just me. And we're not here to talk about my thoughts on CS's endings. But, overall, Daybreak was fun. I hope Daybreak 2 improves more on the gameplay. And I don't know. I hope the Connect events are still fun. I heard some Connect events are going to involve multiple characters outright. So it's like, sounds interesting. But other than that, that's all the thoughts I really wanted to get out in regards to Daybreak and the finale. I think I'm done for tonight. I will see y'all on Saturday for the finale to Ace Combat. So, and then after that, the next week, we'll start Trails to Reverie on Abyss, on New Game. I freaking hate myself. But, yeah. Other than that, have a good night, everyone. Thanks for listening to me talk about a game for, like, nearly 3 hours. I'll see y'all soon. Till then, take care.